I have two different sets of baby chicks in the garage right now. One of the brooders is my laying hens and the other is my meat birds. And today my meat birds are ready to get out on pasture. This is always a very exciting day for a couple different reasons. I don't have to have as many animals in the garage anymore, so it's not going to smell as bad in there. They can get out on pasture and start free ranging a little bit, so I don't have to feed them as much. And they can start cutting this grass down for me so I don't have to mow or do anything like that over here, which takes up a lot of time. But the most exciting part about today is I get to test out this new mobile chicken coop that my brother and I built. This beast is 4 by 4 feet and it's 2 foot tall and it's all made of cedar, so it's really lightweight and it should last a really long time. This was modeled after the Justin Road Chickshaw built. So we built it roughly based on those plans, but we kind of added our own features and did a couple things a little bit differently. Like we did the base, I think the base is all the same, where you frame it together, put some supports down the middle, wire on top, and then you do the roost bars on top of that. So they have 3 different sections of wood to roost on. We got a Craig jig when we first started building this around that time. So that's how we connected a lot of this frame, and that really helps. I'm glad we bought one of those. It makes everything a lot cleaner and a lot easier to build, and it should hold up a lot better. Another thing I think we did differently is the wheels. I think the plans had the axle like being connected on the bottom of everything, but we drilled through the board on the bottom frame and the support to put the axle in there, and we've done that on a couple different mobile coops now, so I think we prefer that method a little bit more. From there we put hardware cloth around the outside, and it's 1 by 1 welded wire on the bottom so the chickens can walk around in there a little bit. Plan is for the meat birds that I'm going to be putting in here, hopefully they stay in here at night on the roost bars and then they get out during the day. I have an automatic door on here as well, so hopefully they can get out here right at dawn and start free ranging and foraging. So the roof opens up on the back here for easy access if I ever need to reach anything inside here. And a cool thing my brother did is we framed out a nesting box, and the boxes themselves can be taken out or put in depending on whether we have meat birds or laying hens in here at the time.
Meat birds, hens.
So that's really cool, and like I said before, this is all cedar and metal, so it should last a really long time. I just hauled it up here from our house, which is probably a couple 100-yard journey. It's not too far, but it's a pretty decent walk when you're carrying something like this. But this thing, like I had no issues getting it up the hills or anything like that, and it's about as lightweight as you can get for a structure that's as secure as this one is. I just talked to my neighbor on the way over. She drove past as I was hauling this down the road, and she said they have gotten a bunch of porcupines and foxes and their raccoons like every night walking around. So, and last year we had a lot of issues with predatory birds like hawks and owls picking off a lot of my meat birds out here. So this is kind of the answer that we came up with. Last year they were just in like a mobile shelter that just had a roof on it. That worked well throughout the day at least, but at night, as soon as the night hit, I think that the birds would get out and start picking them off a little bit, and they didn't really have a place to go. So this should keep all the birds secure. It's very light, very mobile, so I can still move it around each time I move this fence when they get the grass eaten down enough. So I think it's pretty much a perfect setup for the birds. Now that the coop's in place and I have the fence up, I'm gonna go get the birds out of the brooder and bring them over here. It's probably gonna take me a couple trips, but the plan is to keep them inside here for a day so they kind of get used to this being their coop and associate this with where they're going to sleep and stay, and then I'll let them out tomorrow to get to work on this grass. All right, so I got all of the chicks out of the brooder and they're in their new mobile coop, and I'm gonna let them stay in here for the rest of the day, and I'll let them out tomorrow to get on this pasture and start mowing the grass for me. I was a little worried about having these young of birds on the 1 by 1 welded wire on the bottom, because I didn't know if their feet were gonna fall through or just give them any issues like trying to walk through there or stay in there all day. Because other than that, they're just sleeping in there and then they're outside right away once the sun comes up. But with meat chickens, it's perfect because their feet are so big now that they have no issue walking on the 1x1 welded wire on the bottom. So everything's good there. This coop should be exactly what we need for this year, and I'm excited to get these birds out on grass tomorrow.